Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me for pricing. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a watch family originally launched in 2014. The steel version you see here was launched in 2017. This is the Glashütte Original Senator Chronograph Panorama Datum, or Big Date. The watch, made in state of Saxony, East Germany, the town of Glashütte, hails from the traditional watchmaking heartland of the fatherland, and it is a very versatile full bracelet steel sports watch. Starting with the size, it's nice contemporary 42 millimeters, full-sized without being oversized, 14.9 millimeters thick. From end to end, we have a case that is 48.8 millimeters. The end links of the bracelet actually don't project beyond the lugs, so the 48.8 is a true lug-to-lug dimension. It's how the watch wears. In between the lugs, we have a 21 millimeter spacing. The watch and bracelet, all in steel, have a satisfying weight to them. And on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, the watch wears well. I can see this watch being a good fit on a wrist down to 15 centimeters circumference. It's not particularly thin, but it's also not particularly thick. And with a slightly sloped case flank, it will fit underneath most shirt cuffs and all jacket sleeves. Now, taking a look at the bracelet in the clasp, you can see that one of the advantages of having a full bracelet is that if you do like to wear your watch loose, having a counterweight to the watch head means you can wear it loose without it submarining, porpoising, or hula hooping. So again, having that counterweight is great if you don't want to set your watch to a strangling fit. Taking a quick look, you can see that the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. Let me recenter that there. And this is always the definitive shot for fit. This angle over the top actually makes the watch look a lot wider than it is, especially since I need to pull it tight to keep it secure on my wrist without sizing it. So this is going to be your truest gauge of fit. Taking a look at the bracelet, we have integration, at least in as much as the end link closes the gap to the case and traces the downward slope of the lugs. This isn't Nautilus or Royal Oak level of integration, but it is Rolex or Omega. We have a little bit of a taper as the bracelet moves down toward the clasp. If you look at the bottom, you can see every single link on the bracelet can be removed to get the perfect fit. You'll also note the tolerances of this bracelet. There's almost no side-to-side play. We have polishing, we have satination, and then we have a countersink of large links into small links. Really impressively made. I believe Bracelet of Ticino in southern Switzerland makes this bracelet and clasp for Glashütte Original. Twin trigger release, thick gauge, media blasted and satinated steel, so a single fold deployant. There's a little rack internally, and if you press the Geo logo, you get about 1 centimeter of incremental adjustment in about 10 steps. So you have an incremental sizing slider there rolling back to the case. We have a little pusher adjuster on the flank that adjusts the panorama datum, or the outsized date. We have lugs that are stepped out from the case band, not notched the way a Longa would be, but also not blended Calatrava or Portugueser style. The case band is satinated longitudinally. The bezel and the lug hoods are polished. You can see that the bezel has a little bit of a vertical lip and then a very soft double step. You can see there's a soft step in the middle of it. And then we roll around to the crown, which is a screw-down crown, and we have polished crown as well as ovoid chronograph pushers. Now, this watch is 100 meters water resistant, which makes it a true sports watch. Take a look at the dial, because it's one of the highlights of the watch, and it is well loomed. Not just the hours and the minutes, but also the chronograph seconds hand, which I really appreciate. You'll also note that we have double luminescence, the indices themselves, and then a little micro index outboard, as well as the Roman numerals at 12 and 6. Taking a quick look at the dial, it's matte black to resist glare. You can see we have what are sort of a hybrid of kite hands and alpha hands for the hours and minutes. We've got our chronograph minutes counter, chronograph hours counter, and then running seconds. And if you look carefully, there's a little power reserve indicator that sits inside the running seconds subdial, and I'll demonstrate how this works. So as the watch winds itself, or you wind it manually, it transitions from silver to black. The watch has a 70-hour power reserve when fully energized. Pull out the crown, you can see it does have hacking seconds. What it also has is a flyback function, so you can reset and restart without first stopping it. Great if you're timing events that occur in rapid succession. Taking a quick look at the outsized date, it's a feather in the cap of the design that the discs are flush. Less accomplished double-digit dates will feature superimposed discs. Having them flush is a real feat, and it is to the credit of the designers and the engineers behind this watch. All right, what else have I got to show you? Well, we have a movement, caliber 37, that was designed in-house and features an impressive size of 31.6 millimeters, so it properly fits the large case. You can also see that it has a visible column wheel. The column wheel feel is world-class here, as good as Rolex, as good as Lange, and oddly enough, I class Breitling's B01 in that group. This is one of the best column wheels, both for feel and for sound. It's sharp, it's traditional, it's how a fine chronograph should be made. Now, what this watch also has is a vertical clutch, which means there's no play in the coupling system for the chronograph, so it engages without any jump or stagger. Now, that also means you can leave the chronograph running with no additional hazard or wear and tear to the movement, because there is no play in a vertical clutch system. This beats away at 4 Hertz, or 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 65 joules. It is a single barrel automatic. It has 5-position adjustment, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. So that's the good stuff. You want to see a watch that's been adjusted in at least 5 positions. Now here's one of the most curious features I've ever seen on a watch. It has this little sliding on-off display that lets you know from the reverse of the watch whether the chronograph is currently running. Unnecessary, but fun because it is fatuous. Now we have a combination of hand and mechanical finish here. You can see that the center of the bearing has been polished. We have both polished and fire-blued screw heads, Glashütte stripes. There's snailing on the bridges below these stripes. We also have this lovely solarization on the reduction wheel for the automatic winding system, which is quite impressive. A number of media blasted surfaces, satination on the wheels, black polish on the swan's neck fine adjustment index. And although it does have a swan's neck fine adjustment, all of the adjustment of the movement is done using variable inertia bolts on the balance, which means it's also free sprung for a precise and very durable shock resistant regulation of the movement. And again, 31.6 millimeters, you can see how well this fits the case back. That's always the mark of a true manufacturer, whether a movement can be made to fill its intended vessel. There is a lot to love about this caliber and this watch. And it's sort of a nerd brand, which means it's not overexposed. And folks who know. Those who don't, or, well, let's just say they're missing out on the best things in life, because underdog brands, think Blancpain, Glashütte Original, think perhaps Piaget. These are where the true watch enthusiasts really show their stripes and their connoisseurship. Reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.